Hey loves, so in this video I'm continuing my Mars in the House Overlays in Synastry series. So in this video we're going to talk about Mars overlay in the 5th house. So if your Mars is falling into someone's 5th house or their Mars is falling into your 5th house. So this one's really exciting because the romantic vibes are quite strong with this one, and the sexual vibes are quite strong with this one. So we have Mars, which is the planet that represents our sex drive at the more basic instinctual action level, whereas Venus is like the more internalized sexuality image of what sex is. But Mars is like how we actually act on it, right? Coming into someone's 5th house of romance, love affairs in the more lighthearted sense, children, play, speculation. So with this overlay, we find that we easily identify the Mars person as someone who could fulfill all of those urges for us. So in the house person, you can really see the Mars person as like this rock star or like this fantasy person, and then the Mars person sees the house person as someone who can really be an outlet for their Mars to be expressed in like the most fun, playful way possible. So this one is really good. It definitely stirs up a more romantic sexual response. The sexual houses usually like that produce the more higher feelings of sexual passion would be the 1st, 5th, the 8th, and the 12th. So the 12th is a bit weird, so we'll talk about that too. But the 5th being the more fun, playful, romantic version of that. So this is a really fun one to have. It can definitely feel a bit addicting. And also, if the rest of the synastry is actually bad, not that there's bad synastry, but if it's, more difficult or more like Neptunian, like maybe you're not actually seeing the person clearly, this overlay could add a level of like romanticism and sexual feelings that make it really hard to see the situation clearly. But in a regular, healthy synastry, this is a really good one to have for romance. And it's definitely one, 5th house synastry is some of the best to have in a romantic relationship or even a friendship, because the 5th and 11th houses are kind of like the friendship houses too. It's really where we have a lot of fun together. So with this overlay, you definitely have fun. And also, I think something that's often overlooked on this overlay is that you can really work together creatively. Like, if you are an artist or a musician, or you do something creative, when someone's Mars is falling in your 5th house, they're really gonna light a fire under your ass to get that work out there or get it going. And like the usual hang-ups that you might have, like, how you have fears, maybe I'm not really good at my art, or maybe my painting isn't really that good, so I'm never going to share it with anyone. And that those kind of thoughts totally subside when we're dealing with a Mars in the 5th house overlay. So, and the other reason, or the other thing that could create is like, now just one Mars in the 5th house overlay isn't going to do this, but the 5th house does represent children. So when you are dating someone or in a romantic relationship with someone with planets in your 5th house, specifically Mars, you might be more open to the idea of having children. Even if you're the person that says, I never want to have kids, well then watch someone have a stellium fall in your 5th house and maybe you'll change your mind on that. Depending what is the state of your own 5th house though, like if you've got Saturn there or something, maybe you don't. But this kind of overlay, that's the same effect as what I was talking about with the artistic pursuits, where like you get out of your head and you want to just create when someone's Mars is falling in your 5th house, or vice versa too, because it can make the Mars person express their Mars in a more kind of 5th housey way because they're being housed by your 5th house. And you want to look at what sign it's into, like what's the energy actually coming out here. But overall, this is a good overlay. It's kind of like, yeah, I feel like 5th house synastry, count yourself lucky if you have it, because it can really be a lot of fun. The dangers would be, you know, more risk taking, doing things in kind of a haphazard or maybe unsafe way, because it is Mars and coming into the 5th house, it's like fire on fire. So you might, depending on your own 5th house and the Mars and what's your own Mars and everything, like this overlay could kind of put you on overdrive to just act out in sort of impulsive or reckless ways, like gambling, right? Like, so, you know, maybe don't go to the casino together if you've got someone's Mars coming in your 5th house. Or maybe do, because maybe it'll work out. But just be aware that this is like a fire on fire influence. And so you could overdo it. You could party too hard. You could gamble too much. You could get pregnant accidentally or something because of the creative influence of this. So like the 5th house and Leo energy is like really creative and sunny and bright, and so, you know, so much so those are just the kind of things to look out for. But even at that, I mean, those could all turn out for the better with this overlay. So yeah, you just have to look at it all, and always look at all the synastry. These house overlays are just a small piece. You want to look at the rest of the planets, what they're doing, and the aspects being made. But overall, the vibe of this one is really playful and fun and joyful and active and creative. And it's a baby making one for sure. And you both, like, yeah, you see each other as a potential for fulfilling your romantic dreams in another human, which doesn't always happen. So it's a really good one to have. Yeah,